2 weeks later, I walked to his desk on the 10th floor. I noticed the change immediately. His posture was straighter, his gaze steadier. When he spoke, he held my eyes without flinching. Not boldly, but without fear. It unsettled me. He told me about the transfer. He was getting transferred. Canada, Alberta, newly opened branch. Not what he wanted. I watched his mouth move, but my mind raced ahead of his words. Suddenly, everything made sense. His boss, the one who pushed for this transfer, had constantly tried to hit on me. The lingering looks, the unnecessary familiarity, the invitations wrapped in authority and entitlement. The man had tried, repeatedly, and every time I had shut him down with a single expression: access denied. Now I saw it clearly. Noah wasn't being promoted. He was being removed. A threat neutralized. My silk blouse clung to my skin as sweat broke out along my spine. Anger flared. Sharp, violent, immediate. So, I asked carefully, "What are you going to do?" He didn't answer. He opened his desk drawer instead and handed me a letter. A resignation letter. He planned to quit. I held my breath as I read it. Once, twice. This was his choice. Quiet, final. I tapped him lightly on the back when I was done. "All the best," I said. And I walked away. Without looking back, the day came and Noah walked into his boss's office with a resignation letter in hand. I wasn't there. Noah told me everything that went down that day. The egoistic man sat in his chair, struggling to keep a smug smile from spreading across his face as he accepted it. Noah walked away, uncertain of his next move. Later that evening, his friends dragged him to a bar on 5th Street to send him off. Nothing felt worse than being surrounded by clowns calling themselves friends. Men who could only drown bottles of chilled beer in the name of solidarity, even as his life unraveled. Noah sat quietly, watching them drink while his mind raced. A little later, one of them slid into the seat beside him, reeking of alcohol but not completely drunk. He glanced at Noah, who had barely finished a bottle of non-alcoholic wine. "Man, you look really messed up." "Geez, why don't you just do something that'll knock you off your feet?" Noah forced a smile and asked, "So, what is it, Craig?" Craig swallowed the rest of his beer, his tie hanging loose around his neck. "Go for your woman. Tell her you like her. You ain't got nothing to lose now. Once you say it, yes or no, you're already out of the building. No running away the next day, even if the answer is no." A slow grin crept across Noah's face. "Are you out of your damn mind, Craig? Danika's a good friend. We've got good vibes and none of your drunk talk is welcome. I'm not ruining that." Craig studied him for a moment, then shot to his feet, drunk confidence peaking. "Guys, I need your fucking attention," he announced loudly. He raised his Heineken, and every face turned toward him. "I'm placing a $5,000 bet on this son of a bitch. He's going to ask Danika McKee out right now, and I guarantee she says yes." The bar erupted. Laughter, shouts, and insults filled the air. Everyone agreed there was no way this idiot was getting a yes from any woman, let alone a solid catch like Danika. Noah watched them rush toward the nearest ATMs, yelling, cursing, swearing, adrenaline high. Moments later, $25,000 in cash was slammed onto the table in front of him. Noah was on the hot seat, trapped. There was no backing out now, or Craig would lose the bet. For the first time in his life, it felt as though time had stopped. "Fucking do it," Craig urged. That night, I was home, in bed, hair loose, mind quiet for once. Then my phone lit up. Noah. Just his name on the screen made me sit up. I had no idea there were men in a bar watching his phone like it held a verdict. No idea there was money on a table, drunken voices chanting courage into him, or that his pride was balanced on a single message. All I saw was his text. Simple, direct, late, and somehow inevitable. I read it twice. I smiled. Not the playful one I used when I knew I had control, but the real one. The one that happens when the truth finally stops hiding. What took you so long to start with? It's all fine by me. I sent it without overthinking, without fear, without rehearsing. Somewhere across the city, chaos erupted. But I only learned that later, when Noah told me the story with disbelief still clinging to his voice. How grown men screamed, how strangers celebrated, how money scattered across a bar table while he sat there stunned, humbled, quiet. What mattered was this: he chose me when he had nothing left to protect. And that told me everything. Time did what it always does when two people stop resisting it. Days turned into months. Friendships softened into intimacy. Laughter became routine. Silence became safe. And 1 year later, I stood under soft lights with a diamond on my finger and a man in front of me who no longer doubted his place in the world. Or beside me. He proposed, and I said yes. On the drive home, I couldn't stop staring at the ring. It struck me how unfair nature could be. How symbols of commitment, like rings, like pregnancies, were placed on women, while men were often allowed the luxury of distance. But Noah wasn't distant. He was present, grounded, certain. That mattered. I joined my mother in the kitchen that evening, barefoot, careless, light. She noticed the ring almost immediately, the way mothers always do, as if joy makes noise only they can hear. She hugged me like she was reclaiming something she had lost long ago. "You've done the right thing," she whispered, and in her voice I heard healing. Few months after his resignation, Noah joined a small firm. Subsequently, his uncle, who owned a large real estate company and was approaching retirement, offered Noah an opportunity to work for him. Noah accepted the offer reluctantly. A few months later, he was entrusted with the management of the company. A pleasant surprise. Then, fate, as if enjoying its own irony, delivered Noah's former boss to my desk weeks later. The moment his eyes caught the ring, I watched irritation bloom into something darker. Regret, maybe. Or rage dressed as curiosity. When he asked whose ring it was, I smiled. Not sharply. Not cruelly. Sweetly. Noah Johnson's. The pause that followed was exquisite. And when he asked where Noah was now, I leaned back in my chair. Slow, deliberate. He's the managing director of Oceans. An entire company reports to him. The silence that swallowed him whole was the kind people earn. When he finally left, shoulders dropped, I clenched my fist under the desk and exhaled. Sweet revenge indeed. I had been right about Noah. Not because he was weak, but because he was different. And the difference was everything. I didn't conquer him. I didn't intimidate him into becoming someone else. I simply made space and watched him rise,